What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, cheesy, bean and cheese chorizo sausage. Coming up! Around these parts, if you want to earn respect as a barbecue joint, you really need to be making your own sausage. Not only is it a great way to utilize all the extra trim you have that would normally go into the trash can, but it's also a great way to differentiate yourself from the pack. With brisket, ribs, and most sides being pretty standardized across the board, a unique sausage can really help show your creativity and show that you care. Over the years, I have made tons of different types of sausage, and this is one of my favorites. It's basically a pork-based chorizo sausage studded with cheddar cheese and beans, and it is going to be delicious. First things first, let's get our beans cooking. Got about a cup of some dried pinto beans here. And to start building those layers of flavor, we're gonna go in with some kosher salt, granulated garlic, a little bit of coriander, and some cumin, and some chili powder. Top that off with water. We're just gonna boil these until they are nice and tender. This is a pork butt. And as always, in a perfect world, I would use lean meat and cubed up fat to get the perfect ratio, typically around a 70-30. But for the home cook, picking up a pork butt seems to work out just fine. And if you're making a small batch, it's also a great opportunity to cut yourself some delicious pork steaks. It's also a great opportunity to pick up a boneless pork butt if you can find them. They were all out today, so I gotta work around this bone. Not a problem. I had this in the freezer for a little bit just to make it easier to cut on this hot Texas day, especially with a big pot of beans going right next to your face. But I'm just gonna cut this up into strips, thin enough to fit through the auger of the meat grinder. And of course, you could do this recipe with beef and pork, all about whatever it is you wanna do. Now that all the pork is stripped out, I'm gonna throw it into this container, get a weight on it so I can do the math and get all the right proportions for the spice mixture. But while I do that, I'm gonna put this back in the freezer so it grinds up extra nice. For our spice mixture today, we are going in with some kosher salt, pink curing salt, some Mexican oregano, some coriander, granulated garlic, cayenne pepper, some Ancho chili powder, cumin, black pepper, and some paprika. And for the binder this week, I'm going with some of this. This is called Sea Bind. It's made from carrots. And supposedly it works really well as a binder because you need a lot less of it than you do milk powder because it's got a lot more absorbing powers to hold onto water. Also, it's not soy-based or dairy-based, so if you're concerned about allergens at all, this is a great way to go. I've never tried it before, but we're gonna find out today. Binder in, looking good. Beans are cooked to tenderness. I went ahead and strained them out, and now I'm gonna put them onto this sheet tray here. We're gonna try and spread them out nice and evenly, and then we're gonna pop these in the freezer for just a little bit to firm up so they don't get all mushy when we're mixing it into our sausage. Meat is cold, beans are chilling, cheese is cubed, spices are ready. I think it's time to start grinding. Fresh out of the freezer, nice and hard, but not completely frozen. Exactly where you want it to be for that nice, clean, pebbly grind. From here, we go in with our spice rub. Just get that all mixed up real nice. Spices evenly distributed. Now we're gonna go in with our water. It's gonna be our liquid today. You could also go in with ice or stock or whatever you got. This is gonna help keep everything hydrated, nice and juicy, as well as help kind of bind everything together. Now that everything's incorporated, we're just gonna go through and get our texture right by mixing this up quite a bit. It's gonna help kind of break down the fat, redistribute all the spices, release some enzymes, and really help the bonding start so this doesn't crumble apart on us when we case it up. So just kind of like kneading bread, we're just gonna go through and mix this all up just for a few minutes before we add our cheese. That's looking pretty good to me, nice and sticky, nice and tacky. Cheese in, beans cooked, then frozen in. And this would probably be a lot easier if you just bought some canned beans and froze them instead of cooking them yourself. But hindsight's 20/20. Now we're just gonna go through and make sure everything is evenly incorporated. And again, this is the reason why we froze the beans after they were cooked. Otherwise, this mixing process and the stuffing process might mush them all up together and you'll end up with refried beans inside your sausage instead of whole beans, which is what we're after. And cooking them yourself, you get a great opportunity to reinforce all those layers of flavor. And of course, I will have exact amounts and ingredients in the description of this video down below. You know the drill from here, folks. Slide your sausage casings onto the horn. Pick a size link and stick with it. Nice and plump. That's what we're after. Oh, and if I didn't mention, that was, in fact, high temp cheddar cheese. Don't have to use it, but it's kind of nice. Doesn't leach out on you, doesn't break apart and separate into oils and solids. But you could use regular Tillamook or anything like that. Look at these plump little bastards. And there we have it, 8 pounds of bean and cheese sausage, all cased up and ready to hit the smoker. Let's fire it up. We're gonna smoke these links at about 150, maybe upward of 200 degrees for the next 3.5, maybe 4 hours. What we're trying to do is just get some smoke penetration on them, dry out the casings a little bit, really get that color infused, as well as cooking the meat through without rendering any of the fat. It's really gonna help us to get that snappy casing, that color we like, that deep smoky flavor. And that's also why we add the pink salt in there, the nitrites, because at this low cooking temperature, you're exposed to botulism and a lot of things, because we're basically cooking in the danger zone. So that's why we put that in there. If you plan to hot smoke these or just grill them off or something, then you can exclude the pink salt. But into this nice and smoky smoker they go until they're looking nice and plump and red. After 4 hours of smoking, I pulled these out, dropped them into an ice water bath to stop the cooking process, and then they chilled out in the fridge overnight. And now I think it's time to finish cooking them off and see how they came out. We've got the smoker fired up to about 275, and we're gonna cook them until they feel nice and plump.
There's a snake in my boot.
20 or 30 minutes later, these weens are feeling good and coming off the pit. Whew, these are hot. Let these cool down for a little bit, and we'll slice on in. Ooh, so cheesy. Nice and firm. And there we go, folks. Studded cheese, studded beans, nice and juicy. That looks pretty damn good to me. That chunk of bean right there. Oh my God, it's so good. I mean, what more do you need than that, folks? Beany, cheesy, got a little bit of kick from all the chorizo spices. Nice and juicy. That carrot binder works pretty well. I was a little worried because it doesn't feel nearly as firm, but clearly we got a good bind, especially from a single grind on there, so. That is rich and satisfying. So we do the classic. Nice and cheesy, nice and juicy, full of beans. Can't go wrong with that.
Bean and cheese, I love bean and cheese, yeah. I'm excited for this one.
These flies.
Yeah.
They're rampant. They like sausage. Would you like to try
frick off.
some bean and cheese sausage? Let me cut you a nice fresh coin. I should have made some tortillas for these.
Yeah, you know I love a bean and cheese taco.
Little bean and cheese sausage wrap.
Yeah, that's good. I'm really cheesy, but I don't think it overwhelms the, like, I'm still getting bean. Look at that little nubbin.
Oh, that little guy?
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that little guy. This is one of those sausages that I could just kind of keep eating. Because it's just not offensive. It's not too spicy. It's not too garlicky.
Good Lord, look at that. That's delicious, babe. What kind of beans? Pinto?
I bet if we kept this loose and like did a scramble with it, be real good.
This would actually be really good on some fries at Mama Fried.
Ooh. Yeah, the pop-ups at Mama Fried are gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
That is hearty.
It's good. All right, I gotta go back to class.
Want a link for the road?
Okay.
Little road link. Look at all the beans. Look at all the cheese. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic bean and cheese sausage. I highly recommend giving this one a try. It's not something you're likely going to see on the supermarket shelves. But if you do, let me know, because I'm pretty sure I'm the first person to do this. But if you do give this a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at ChudsBBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to keep making videos. Head over to ChudsBBQ.com for all pit inquiries, wait lists, specs, prices, all that good stuff. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.